Good afternoon and welcome back to another ironic introduction to another video. Today I want to talk about this Odin Correction, kind of throw in my 2 cents slash first impressions for this in-game message that Kabam sent out. Now, first off, I want to say that I know that there's probably going to be some heavily conflicted opinions on this and probably a lot of hate as well. So total respect. If you disagree with me or you want to, chime in or add things to my argument or my perspective, feel free. Do that in the comments. Keep it civil because, wow, definitely a doozy here, I feel. But at base, I want to say that at least it's quick, right? It's not the fastest it could have been, but it's something. So yeah, let's start with the post. So the post itself is: greeting summoners, prior to Odin's crystals and arena release, we are adjusting his kit to ensure fair gameplay. As of today, we are removing the ability to stack multiples of the same buff from Odin's pre-fight abilities on a single champion, bringing his abilities more in line with champions like Magneto, House of X. For those who purchased one or more or multiple of the Odin preview bundles and any crystals from the Black ISO market during the preview window, we will be sending you an equivalent number of crystals from our next champion release bundle as compensation for this change. This may occur after the preview bundle has ended. Additionally, to compensate for this change that affects Odin's status as a support champion, we are committing to a tuning buff to Odin, giving him more power in his base abilities. To compensate for this change to his support abilities, we plan to release this change with our May release. Thank you for your patience and understanding the game team. So, first, let's talk about the pros, because I have some cons, but I like to talk about pros first, kind of put that optimist foot forward first. So first, I really do appreciate that they are at least giving us something here. I understand that refunds might not be practical because of the complexity or BS or what have you. They want to be stingy with the money. Whatever the reason, we're getting something, and we are getting something in a equivalent value, and I'm gonna stack that on a con I'll talk about later. The next thing is the fact that they're not just taking away. They are committing to tuning Odin, and hopefully, that actually comes in May. Sometimes we see, plan to release, but then we don't actually get it that soon. So if it is by May, that's pretty good. There's definitely potential in Odin's kit to make him a actual, useful standalone champion. So that would be nice. I think that they have to address the Odin sleep, otherwise Odin kind of falls flat no matter how powerful they make him. Any champion that needs to be alternated in that regard, it's just like a gaping flaw. But that's not why I spun for Odin. I spun for him because of the support ability, which brings me back to my third point, which is that never did I think Odin's pre-fight was going to stack. In fact, I was partially under the impression by reading the abilities that we were going to have to choose one of the pre-fights and not be able to apply all three, when it was turned out that you could apply all three, not even stacking them. That alone was a huge boon to the value of his pre-fight, making him by himself a synergy piece that allows any champion to counter buffed up, not to mention champion interactions. And then on top of that, to be able to stack the ability was just absolutely crazy, and led to all kinds of wild interactions. So I'm not at all surprised, as long as we're talking on the pro side here, that they are removing this pre-fight stacking. Now, there's a lot more cons, so I'll talk about the cons. The first con is that we're getting preview bundles for the next one, whatever the next one is, which means hopefully that means the next preview bundle is good, because if it's just a flop champion, then that means nothing. It's neat to get free crystals, and that's cool, and there's a value return there, but I'm not excited about that. I have no idea who this next champion is. I was super stoked for Odin, but on the flip side, even without that, those crystals still have early access value to them, and I personally didn't pull Odin, so me and a huge pool of players who would have pulled on the early access but didn't pull Odin are just getting free crystals. So that's a pro and a con, to be fair. And then the other thing I would say is that committing to this change, I really wish they had given us any kind of information there, or made this kind of an action faster. I think that When it comes to cons, the biggest thing about any kind of quality control, as coming from someone who's worked in quality, the most important thing is always, always, always speed, right? Like, we knew about Odin's pre-fight ability way before this. It's been a while, long enough to justify saying that it took too long. And that's the reality of it. Is we saw numerous videos of Odin's interactions being crazy and people freaking out over it and the absurdity of it, to the point where even in this short duration period where Odin hasn't even technically entered the game outside of the early access, we could have known. They could have been faster about it. So I will make that criticism, even though I will say as a caveat for Kabam, this to me feels faster than normal. So it is a step in the right direction. And then finally, my last point is rank down tickets. Now, I'm sure there's not a lot of people who pulled Odin, but I'm also sure that anyone who pulled him probably has already ranked him up. And this is a huge change. This is a major thing. Just give those players rank down tickets, or just auto rank down everybody's Odins. Give them the resources, and then if they want to rank them up again, they can. So that's where I'm at, pros and cons. Let me know if I missed something. Let me know if you want to add something. But for me, this is a win because I already didn't pull Odin. I don't think Odin needs to stack this ability for him to be insane. I think just the 3 buffs as is insane. And then finally, it's just free crystals for me. So my perspective, it's awesome. But that does not mean that is the impact it will have on the game. If you want more thoughts from me, feel free to hit me up. But as always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.